नमः सर्वेभ्यः अद्वैतचिन्तनवर्गे सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः परमऋषिभ्यो नमः परमऋषिभ्यः। Lilita Bhagini, can you tell the Shanti Mantram and that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to read this?
Yeah, you can read both the shlokas, Shanti Mantra as well as the first shloka. I put it in the what you call in the
which one?
In the screen I have put. Can you see that, or you are not?
In the screen, I'm having the Srimad Paramahamsa Paribrad. Only that. The other one.
It didn't change, Mahodaya.
Oh, it has not changed.
But you had sent in the email that.
Yeah.
Now it is there. Now it is there.
Right.
Sri Harim Paramanandam Upadeshtaramishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Karanam Tam Namamyaham.
Shanti Mantram, okay. Om Sahana Vavatu.
Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Dhanyavadam. Till now, in this Chintana Vargam, we have whatever we have gone through. Just we will have a recap as to what are the earlier slokas what we have completed till now. After the Sri Harim Pranamya, then Shankaracharya in the slokas started with what is Anubandha Chatushtayam, where the Anubandha Chatushtayam is the Grantha Vishesha. Actually speaking, what it qualifies as a Grantha. Gratitam yat, that is the from where the Grantha word comes. Gratitam yat. So Gratitam means Rachayitam. That's all. But there is no other special meaning for Grantha, the word Grantha as it is, but Grantha as a measure for rewarding those who used to write in palm leaves. There used to be 21 words or 41 words. Used to be a measure with that were also called the Grantha, and they were rewarded those days when they were writing in palm leaves. So there were specialists who could write very fast on the palm leaves. So that is, they were rewarded on a measure called Grantha, like meter, liter, or we have today what measures we have like that. Those days what written in the palm leaves were measured by number of words, and they had conditions that wherever sandhi is possible they should use the sandhi, and padas can be separated only if the meaning goes totally haywire. Sandhi if that happens and then the meaning goes haywire, then they have the liberty to split the words, but otherwise they are supposed to do the sandhi. And based on the number of words, it is 21 words or 41 words, depending upon each place had a different measure. It's called Grantha, and they were rewarded for that, writing that. So, but as a grantha or as a treatise, which we can say in English, it has to have 4 anubandha, means connections. They are adhikari, vishayam, sambandham, prayojanam. Now adhikari is the qualifying aspirant or the one who is eligible for studying that treatise, and that is being further described in the next slokas. Then comes the vishayam, brahma, atma, anubhuti. These are all the names given as a vishaya in the preamble slokas by Acharya. And what is the sambandham? It is how the relationship between the adhikari and the vishayam. Why should a vishayam be of interest to adhikari is mentioned by the term sambandham, and that is mentioned in the book. Where is the sambandha between the adhikari and the vishaya is happening. And prayojanam anuddishya namando vipravartade, because of everyone looks for some benefit out of doing certain actions, so that is called prayojanam. And if these 4 are is there in a treatise, then it is called a grantha: adhikari, vishayam, sambandha, and prayojanam. Now then comes, what is an adhikari? An adhikari should be sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. Sadhana chatushtaya means 4-fold qualities, and sampanna means he should have real wealth of those qualities. What are that chatushtayam? Vairagyam, vivekam, shat sampatti, mumukshutva. Now these are the 4 chatushtayam, which is called sadhana for the sadhana or the practice to follow the study of the vishayam as prescribed in the book. For that, a student or an adhikari should have vairagyam. Vairagyam is detachment or the aversion, not detachment, aversion for all sorts of objects, both external and internal, favorable and unfavorable. And how should he have a aversion for that? Yada kakavishtaya, like how a crow dropping, or a gardaba vishtaya, like how the donkey's dung is to be avoided. Why was it donkey's dung used as an example? Is that in those days cow dung was not supposed to be as aversion as in what we have today. But those days they used dried cow dung even for yajna, even for giving a cool atmosphere inside the mud hut. They used to paste it on the surface of the house, so that one is it dries up. While drying, it keeps the mud house or the kutia cooler. So they used to mix the cow dung along with certain mud clay and used to use it as so there were no aversion for cow dung, but definitely donkey dung was not touched by hand or feet. So and they used to take bath if they touched donkey's dung. So same as the case with the crow dropping. Now vairagyam is not just aversion, and that should be a viveka janyam. What is vivekam? Nitya anitya vastu vivekam. What are the vastus which are nitya and anitya? That knowledge should cause the aversion for the internal and external objects, both favorable and unfavorable. You may not develop a vairagyam for favorable things unless and otherwise you know that this is not nityam. Sukham, if it is being given, there is a tendency for the human mind to get attached to that and remain engrossed in it. But when viveka tells you that don't be fooled by the temporary happiness which you obtain out of the engagement with an object, it is impermanent, and that on the departure or the diminishing of that, you will be sorrowful or you will feel miserable. That vivekajanya vairagyam is absolutely necessary for that. So that is, viveka and vairagya are interconnected. Now for vivekam to happen, there is shat sampatti. There are sixfold qualifications or wealth for a student or an adhikari. They are all shama, dama, uparati, tidiksha, shraddha and samadhanam. So this is where we are now. But just having vairagyam, vivekam and shat sampatti is not alone enough. They should be having mumukshutva. Because what is prayojanam? Prayojanam is mumukshutva. So that is the goal for the studying of the book. And what is mumukshutvam? It will be explained after completing what is shat sampatti in the following sloka by Acharya. And Vidyaranya has used the prakriya of Maya and Upati, and Maya, Avidya and Upati as the prakriya through which this Vivekam and Vairagyam all, and what are the prayojanam to be obtained is been explained. Now we completed among the Shat Sampatti what is Shama and Dama. Shama and Dama. Shobha Bhagini, do you remember what is Shama, what is Dama?
Mahodaya, Shama is mano nigraha, like purging vasanas and bringing mind under our control, so the manas is not driving us. We are not under its control, because as you said, when thoughts come, we don't discriminate between the thought and who we are, and we get carried away. So the thought will make us do what it wants us to do. So Shamaha is doing the opposite. We are in control of thoughts. Is that right?
Okay. Right. It's a vaidya, I mean what you call vasana tyagam. Shama is vasana tyagam. Vasana, as you said, is the internal tendencies of us which drives us outwardly for engagement in the world outside or the objects outside. Now what is Dhamma then in that case?
Dhamma is controlling attraction of external sense organs. So while Shama is Manas, so that is more internal and Sukshma, so controlling attractions that other Bahendriyas, not sure if that is the right word, draw us towards what is in the in life. So okay, we could be tempted by so many external sense organs towards so many things, which will take us away from practicing viveka and vairagya. So that should be controlled also.
Okay, right. So Shama, while is the indriya, under indriya nigraham, Dhamma is bahyendriya nigraham. So bahyendriya means we cannot, this is where what the the term literally means and what is the practicability of it is what we have to understand. External indriya nigraham means we cannot control our eyes, ears, touch, smell, taste and smell. So how does Dhamma can be practiced? Now when we open our eyes, the eyes will necessarily see the objects outside. So does that Dhamma means we should close our eyes and we should close our ears and close our contact of sense organs and objects? Is that Dhamma means? Practically it is impossible. So there must be something which our acharyas intended when they say that bahyendriya nigraham. So bahyendriya nigraham is to be understood. What we should understand how the indriyas operate. Now, the prakriya which or the example what in the philosophical Indian philosophical thought, Nyaya as well as Advaita says is that when an object is seen with an eye, the eyeball, the light from the object and falls on the eye, and we see the object as a physical existence of an object. But indriya is the awareness of that aspect of the object which goes out through the eyes and envelops the object. That is what is called indriya, not the eyeball per se, or the shrotrendriya or tokindriya or anything. What happens is that our awareness, that aspect of the awareness, not total awareness, the awareness of a light based knowledge expands through the eyes, goes up to the object and envelops the object from external point of view only, because light is only external. So it externally covers the object, and there is a ongoing continuity between the object and the knower or the seer who is seeing the object, as long as the object is in front and the observer is watching that. Now, when that awareness is broken, even though eyes is looking at an object, the knowledge of the object doesn't reach the observer. If, for example, if you look at it, see, if we are watching an object, and if somebody passes in front of us, we may not even know that somebody has passed in front of us, but our engrossed vision is on the object which we are looking. Same way, the sound. If we are listening to something, or our shrotrendriya is immersed in something, and even somebody calls your name the first time or second time, you may not even hear that person is calling, even though the person is calling you from a proximity which is very close by, and the normal sense you should be able to hear it. That is because your shrotrendriya, the awareness of sound related awareness, have gone through the indriya of shrotram and is engrossed in an object which is of interest at that time. That is why when the other person calls, we are not able to hear that, or our attention is not getting diverted to the person who is calling us. Like that, other objects also, whether it is a touch, if somebody touches, we don't even know that that person has touched us until we become aware of that he is touching. It can be it can be a friendly touch, or it can be an unwanted touch. We don't know that until we become aware of that. Same way, the taste and what you call chakshu shotram, tuk and vak. So all the five indriyas are behaving in the same way. So this is the theory which Indian philosophers have given to the indriya aspect. So we should understand one thing. There is a difference between the indriya which is existing on the physical body to the indriya what is being referred to by the shastras as indriya. It is not the spot of that instrument through which it is happening, but it is the awareness aspect of that indriya or the organ which goes out to the object and receives the information about the object regarding that aspect of the indriya. If it is vision, it is light. If it is sound, it is shrotram, it is sound. If it is touch, sense of smell, taste, etc. This is what is called Bahendriyam. Now we have Antarindriyam, where we have all the five plus the mind, which is operating even when we are in a dream or when we are not physically aware of what is happening outside. Internally we have certain experiences of sukha, dukkha, or we may even take from memory, smriti, certain good events happened, or good food we tasted, or good vision we have seen. That is Antarindriyam. So Shama, Dama are both for Indriya Nigraham. One is for internal, through which is created by Vasana or memory and the impressions which are within us in our mind. Whereas Dhamma is that aspect of the Indriya when he says that Dhamma, the Nigraham of the external Indriya should happen, what the Shastra says is that Vivekatvena, with the knowledge that what we are seeing external outside should be used for our Nitya Vastu Vivekam. When we know that an object of desire which is there in front of me is not a permanent one, then over a period your attraction towards that object will come down. Even though you may see it, physically see it, but you will never be a victim of the attraction for the object. The withdrawal of such attractions from the external objects, even though visually or by other organs, it's available within the range of awareness, our attraction towards such objects is getting diminished over a period with the practice of that, and that is called Dhamma. Okay, this is up to which we have studied. From today we will get into Uparati, Titiksha, Sraddha and Samadhanam. Any question on this?
Yeah, Mahodaya, sorry, I just wanted to know, Dhamma does it involve Jnanendriya and Karmendriya also? It's like Bahyendriya Nigraha, it's what you have said, but it includes Jnanendriya and Karmendriya also, right? Manas goes into Shama. Shama is Mano Nigraham, Shama iti, I think so, I'm not sure.
Yes.
Right?
Say Vasana Nigraham, Mano Nigraham is not Mano Nigraham, it is a Vasana Nigraham. Vasana Nigraham is in the tendencies which is deeply embedded in our personality.
Okay, right. So basically in Shama, that's what you meant to say. So Vasana Nigraham, how do we do that? Because Vasana is not under control, right? Vasana Nigraham is not under control.
Yeah, if you have read my chat in the group, WhatsApp group.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I'll do that. I'll follow it up. Okay, I'll come up in the next class, Mahodaya. I'll just go through your...
I can explain. Okay. I mean, okay, I'll briefly explain to you. See, this is a three-stage process. First is becoming aware of our vasanas. You should know that, what are the tendencies which we have in our mind, with which we get attracted to the both internal and external objects. What is sukham, and what is the thing which we are getting averse or distracted, or we hate to have it. That is to be understood and made an acknowledgement of that. Then only you will know what is the control. No? Unless you know what is to be controlled, how will you control it?
Yes, true.
Right. True. So the stage one, what we are talking about is about this aspect of our, what you call, internal tendencies. We carry this. We develop our mind and impression based on this. So what we need and what we should not have it. And this becomes so solid and as a deep impression in us, because over a repeated usage or engagement, that becomes almost like our swabhava, nature.
True.
So that is what is called vasana. And this decides the name, the personality. So if a person is, we say he's a cruel person, or he's a sattvic person, or he's a nice person. Why we call it? Because over repeated assertion on the qualities which is there inside, you develop what you like and what you dislike as a personality trait.
Okay.
Then a person is called a person who likes to hurt others, become cruel. We call him a cruel person because he likes to do that, no?
Yes. Yes.
And same way, a person who is very helpful, soft, and understanding, a Samaritan type of a person, becomes that not because he didn't have an option for anything, but he developed that over a period by repeatedly accepting those qualities in him and rejecting the negative qualities. So such a person becomes, and unknowingly it happens. It is not that we are doing it knowingly.
Yes.
So
that's true.
this is the first stage where we have to understand this as what is our likes and dislikes, right?
Yes.
Only if we know those qualities, what are there in us, we can become aware of what is to be controlled. Okay. We can take actions to reduce them and ultimately bring them to a minimum what is required for a sharira, sharira maintenance of the body. Okay. And the second is we have to bring viveka into this. When we are doing a nigraha or a reduction, is it helping me in achieving my goal towards viveka and mumukshutva, or is it even, some actions can even take you away from that goal, because you may think that is good. For example, I mean, a very crude example is that instead of getting into the reality of nitya vastu vivekam, a person believes anitya vastu as real and starts praying towards that, whether it is whatever maybe form it is in. It can be even an animal form or a stone form or a picture form or anything. But that becomes becomes your tendency to become that, but you are not moving towards the goal of viveka and mumukshutva. But you may think you are doing a positive thing by doing that aspect of, clinging to that object of worship. It can be an object of worship also. But does it help you in your viveka and mumukshutva by generating vairagya? No. At the initial stages, it will help you for preventing from you to disengage or not engaging yourself in other wasteful activities, right? So that you should make a differentiation between what are the things you should purge and what are the things you should encourage in the vyasana, so that your goal is to gain more viveka and you should have more mumukshutva. And viveka comes automatically, vairagya is also follows along with it. It's the two sides of the same coin. Only if you have a viveka you can have a vairagya, otherwise you will not have vairagya.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah,
that's right, Mahadev. Is there a gradation also, like shamaha, damaha? Is it like why is shamaha put first, why not damaha? Is because that indriya is to be first controlled, right? More than shamaha, that's what I think. So I'm not sure about that.
There is no gradation actually, but okay. Dhamma is something which is always with you, which you can practice.
Okay.
You don't need objects outside to practice shama. But for dhamma to be practiced, you should have to be engaged in the outside, no?
Okay.
So even a yogi who is in meditation, he has to practice shama because he is not physically engaged with the world outside. He is maybe in a cave or in a place of meditation, cut out from the world outside. But if his mind is not under the control of the shama, There is no point in telling the world that I am doing meditation, but your mind is roaming around in this world and all the worlds which you know.
Okay. Okay, right.
So that aspect is more important. Then only you know what is controlling your mind. And how do you do a Bahyendriya Nigraham? Only if you know how to do it internally, you can do it externally also.
Okay, that's a catch point, right? Okay, fine.
Right. So, and the third is that pure vasanas need to be also to be purged. That's what I said, no? You may think that it is pure, but even the purest of the pure, as long as it is a vasana, it is going to be a bondage.
Yes.
So that stage where you are completely devoid of vasana is the state of mumukshutva or Aparokshanubhuti. But that is the final goal. So it is not that you achieve shama, then you go and start working on dhamma, and then uparati, then titiksha. No, all the 6 have to be practiced simultaneously.
Okay, right. Okay. And just a small question, I don't know whether I would ask you now, or should I ask at the end of the class, Mahodaya?
No, it is related, let us complete it.
No, that is, people always feel vairagya and viveka. People feel nowadays, people are in depression also. They feel they're having vairagya. But is it that only if there's viveka and there's shastra adhyanam, then only it is the right vairagya, or else it's not called a vairagya. Is it right?
You are right. In fact, depression or cooped up in a room, they don't want to mix with people and avoiding socializing, or not socializing in the sense getting with the world outside. These are all as a psychological problems because they are not able to do the shama.
Okay. Right.
A person who wisely able to do the shama or the internal vasana control, for such a person, whether he is in the world outside, busy, crowded marketplace, or in a crowded temple, he will be at pace with himself and the world outside. Such a person cannot cause disturbance even in the crowd where he is present there. He will be present, but as good as not present there, because he is in control of himself.
But vairagya has to be accompanied with viveka. Only then you can say it's vairagya, right? That is like
vairagya is not the vairagya which we think in our day-to-day life. Viraktasya bhava is vairagyam, or vigadaragam is vairagyam, is definitions. But in Advaita, what we call as vairagyam is nitya vastu vivekasya viveka janya vairagyam.
Oh, astu. Okay, got that.
It is towards what is permanent, what is impermanent. You should have a knowledge based on which you want to be more towards the nitya vastu, and there is only ekam nityam, vimalam achalam, sarvadi sakshi bhutam. So there is only one nityam, tad bhinnam sarvam anityam. Okay, other than that everything is impermanent. So in the last thing when we explained in the shamadama, we said yad nityam tad na drishyam. What is nityam? You cannot be seen, because drishyatvad, it becomes drishya nashtam. No, whatever seen can be lost, but the seer who is seeing the scene is never lost. From that point of view, the seer is only the nitya vastu, not the scene. That was when explained in the last class. How the drishyatvat anityitvam bhavati. That is how the drishtor drishte viparilopo na vidyate avinashitvat is the sloka from Brihadaranyaka. The seer is never lost to himself as a seer. but the rest of the things are all lost. He can see them as an object, and all the objects can be lost, but he as a seer is never lost. Why? Avinashitva, because he is avinashi.
Yes, Mahodaya. Yeah, I'll go through the recordings also. Anyway, thank you so much. Dhanyavadaha.
So today we are getting into Uparati evam Titiksha Swarupa. Chandini Bhagini, can you read the shloka?
I'll try. Uparati evam titiksha swarup विषयेभ्यः परावृत्तिः परमोपरतिर्हि सा सहनं सर्वदुःखानां तितिक्षा सा शुभामता.
धन्यवादः भगिनी. सो विषयेभ्यः परावृत्ति परम उपरतिः सः सहनं सर्वदुःखानां तितिक्षा सा शुभामता. So that is the shloka, and the Samskrita Tika by Vidyaranya Muni is given in below that, and I think Vamshi Bhagini, can you read that?
Yeah, I'll try it up, Mahodaya. Okay. Vishayebhya iti hiti ha iti vishayebhya iti ha iti prasiddhebhyo bhandakebhyah शब्दादिभ्यो या परावृत्ति निवृत्तिर्नित्या नित्यत्वादि दोषदर्शनेन ग्रहणानिच्छा सोपरति रुच्यत इत्यर्थः. कीदृशी स इत्येत आह परम इति उत्कृष्टमात्मज्ञानं परम उत्कृष्टमात्मज्ञानं यस्याः सकाशा अजायते सा परमा आत्मज्ञानसाधनभूतेत्यर्थः. अनया सर्वकर्मसन्न्यासः लक्ष्यते. किंच सहनम् इति सर्वदुःखानां सर्वदुःखसाधनानां शीतोष्णादिद्वन्द्वानां यत्सहनं प्रतीकारनिच्छा सा शुभा सुखरूपा तितीक्षा मता विदुषामित्यर्थः. श्याम इति अस्तु अस्तु महोदय.
विषयेभ्य इति हिति प्रसिद्धेभ्यो बन्धकेभ्यः शब्दादिभ्यो या परावृत्तिनिवृत्ति अनित्यत्वादि दोषदर्शनेन ग्रहणानिच्छा स उपरति इत्युच्यते. सुपरति इत्युच्यते इत्यर्थः. कीदृशी सा इत्यतः आह परमेति परम् उत्कृष्ट आत्मज्ञानं यस्याः सकाशात् जायते सा परमा आत्मज्ञानसाधनभूतित्यर्थः. अनया सर्वकर्मसन्न्यासः लक्ष्यते. किंच सहनम् इति सर्वदुःखानां सर्वदुःखसाधनानां शीतोष्णादि द्वन्द्वानां यत् सहनं प्रतीकार अनिच्छा सा शुभा सुखरूपा तितीक्षा मता विदुषाम् इत्यर्थः. विजया भगिनी.
जी.
Acha. Can you read the shloka Padacheda Anvaya and the meaning?
Agre?
Yeah. Can you see the screen?
Yeah. Print out mama asti.
No, I best is read from the screen if you can read the screen.
Astu.
Yeah.
Astu.
Because
विषयेभ्य परावृत्तिः परमोपरतिर्सा सहनं सर्वदुःखानां तितिक्षा सा शुभा मता विषयेभ्यः परावृत्तिः परमः उपरतिः हि सा सहनं सर्वदुःखानां तितिक्षा सा शुभा मता अन्वयः विषयेभ्यः परावृत्तिः सा हि परमः उपरतिः सहनं सर्वदुःखानां सा शुभ तितिक्षा mata refraining or withdrawal from the indulgence with objects, that indeed is the supreme uparati equipoise. Patient endurance of both internal and external infliction without reaction is known as titiksha and is a way for happiness. One P is less. Astuji.
Yeah. Okay. So this shloka says the two aspects of uparati, which is restraining or withdrawing of intelligence of the objects. Now you will ask, what is the difference between dhamma and the uparati? Okay. Which we will clear in when you read the what you call.
No, what you said now? What is the difference between uparati and the
Dhamma?
Shama Dhamma va?
Yes.
Dhamma. Astu.
Right.
Dhanyavadah. Na shrutam maya samyak.
Right. Vishayebhya iti prasiddhyo bandhagebhya shabdadibhyo ya para vritti nivritti. Para vritti nivritti. Para means unnataha. Vritti nivritti, that vrittinam nivritti, vritti nivritti. So that utmost vritti nivritti, what like from shabdebhyaha, that is from the sources of the inputs like shabda and panja, what you call 5 organs which we feed, that there is a bondage which is developed out of the shabdadihi, because anityatwadi dosha darshanena grahana aniccha saha uparati. Anityatwadi dosha darshanam. Now in the uttama vritti nivritti, here is the difference between the shamadama and uparati. In the earlier two cases, what happened was engagements were being controlled, both internal and external, by shama and dhamma, whereas in the uparati is a totally a meditative or a what you call intellectual process where the vritti nivritti is being done. What in the yogic practice, what you know yoga chitta vritti nirodha, yoga chitta vritti nirodha is that the chitta vritti. So paravritti, the uttama vritti, it's all the vrittis which are happening from that nivritti. And why? How does that nivritti should happen? Anitvत्वादि dosha darshanena grahanasya aniccha bhavati chet. So grahana aniccha is to accept it or hold it or to get engaged with it, because it is anityam, is what is being seen in it, which I told you, in that how do you asked me the question, how do they control the vasanas? So controlling the vasanas is all the three, shama, dhamma, uparati. It's all different aspects in which you can control the engagement with the external and internal objects. So कीदृशी सा इत्यतः आह परमेति, param utkrishtam atmajnanam yasyaha sakashat means prakashat jayate. Atmajnanat prakashat jayate. Atmajnana prakasham is what? Is paramam utkrishtam. And why it is paramam utkrishtam? Because that is nitya. Nitya is what you know, is atmajnanam is from nityajnanam. Nitya Nitya Jnanam is evam Atma Jnanam. What is Nitya is knowing is itself is Atma Jnanam. So that becomes the Utkrishtam. Because of that, rest of them becomes Anityatvam Dosha Darshanena, because it has become Anityatvam. So Atma Jnanam Sasya Prakashat Jayate Sa Parama Atma Jnana Sadhana Bhuta Ityartaha. So from the Atma Jnana Sadhana, following that, when you get more and more attracted towards the Nityatvam, then you slowly start shredding or disinterest in the Anitya Vastu, because of they have a dosha that is called Anitya. So because of that, your movement towards the Atma Jnana becomes more dridam. So anaya sarva karma sannyasa lakshate. So here the Vidyaranya Muni says that sannyasa is samyak nyasa, from the withdrawing from the engagement. But from what? Sarva karma. Sarva karma here means all top of actions which is making us engaged in the both permanent and impermanent, both internal and external impermanent things. So tesham sanyasaha is what is lakshyate, is being addressed here. And while doing that, there is another aspect of it, because we'll become unhappy when we don't engage with things which we give us happiness. We will become happy when we are avoiding things which give us pain or hatred or unwanted feelings. So you get both dukkha and sukha, which happens when such a withdrawal through shama, dhamma and uparati takes place. But at that time, you should have a sahanam, or the patience. Sarva dukkhanam means, the word sarva dukkhanam indicates both sukha and dukkha. Sarva dukkhanam sitoshna sukha dvandvanam. Hereby that the word sitoshnadi dvandvanam, sita ushnam, either when we may have liking towards either sita or ushna depending upon what is the external conditions. Same way, internal sukha dukkha or external raga viraga, they sarva dvandvanam becomes the sarva dukkhanam. Tasya or tesham sahanam. What type of sahanam? Pratikara aniccha. So you should not have a reaction. Pratikaram is not only the vengeance, it's not talking about the vengeance or a rebuttal or a reaction which we take. It is a total reaction of any input when we have to face the dvandvas, sita adi, aniccha, and because it has to come from iccharahityam. Sa shubhamada, that is the good quality. Sukha rupa, it becomes a sukha rupa. That sukha is not a anitya sukha from the objects. From a nitya sukha and anitya sukha, you should make the difference. Sa titiksha vidusham ityartha. That is vidusham mata. So vidusha, or the learned people, tell that sukhatvam which we get of sahanam sarva dukkhanam shita ushnadi dvandvanam apratikara purvakam sa titisha iti ityartha. So that is what is called the titiksha. So shama, dhamma, uparati are all engagement, disengagement, and how do we have the control over that engagement and disengagement. While titiksha is our reaction. How do we react to such events when we do it with knowledge or with viveka? How we withdraw ourselves from these engagements. So from that, when we disengage ourselves, we may get into sukha and dukkha. That should be is the there will be natural reaction for us to react towards such things. So that without a reaction or without a pratikara, when we do that, that is called a quality called titiksha. You might have seen some of those qualities in a very evolved souls, where without any, they are neither worried about abuses being shown them or bad propaganda taken on them, or even they will not be even carried away by the adulations and all those great appreciation they get from the disciples. To both of them, they will be equally non-reactive. For them, even if an abuse takes place or if praising somebody takes place, both they will look with a smile and they will have no reaction towards it.
It's very rare, no?
Very rare. It's very rare. Yeah, it's very rare. That's why it is very important to develop the titiksha as a quality. And this quality of titiksha can come only if we have the viveka. We have to know that what is nitya, anitya, and everything that is anitya will give us a reaction because it has got a beginning and end. So the beginning end will give us a disengagement without our choice. That gives a turbulence in our mind, and we will not be able to handle. See the dvandvana. So, but when it is known with our intellect, with what is the nitya and anitya, then we know that it was an anitya thing. It had a birth and it will die. And my engagement with this, only when it is there, engage it, but not with that knowledge that it is going to be permanent. So when you know that it is impermanent, even the absence of such objects in our engagement will not disturb you. That time you will not have a reaction. So that is what is called apratigara purvakam, titiksha. Okay. Lalita Bhagini, this sloka, Sraddha or Samadhanam, let us take this also. Lalita Bhagini, can you see the screen?
Yeah, I'll read.
Yeah.
निगमाचार्य वाक्येषु भक्ति श्रद्धेति विश्रुता चित्तैकाग्र्यं तु सल्लक्ष्ये समाधानमिति स्मृतम्. This is Shraddha or Samadhana Swarupa. पदच्छेदः निगमाचार्य वाक्येषु भक्तिः श्रद्धा इति विश्रुता चित्तैकाग्र्यं तु सद् लक्ष्ये समाधानम् इति स्मृतम्. अन्वयः निगमाचार्यवाक्येषु भक्तिः श्रद्धा इति विश्रुता तु चित्तैकाग्र्यं सद् लक्ष्ये समाधानम् इति स्मृतम्. Unflinching faith in the words of the teacher and coming down in tradition through shastras is well known as Shraddha, and concentration what those words indicate or point towards in the intellect is to be remembered as Samadhana.
Right. Dhanyawad.
Yeah, Dhanyawad.
Here the last two of the Shat Sampati is being described by what is Shraddha and what is Samadhana. So here you have to make a difference between what is Shraddha and faith. It is not the faith in the ordinary sense on, where we believe, blind belief, or what we call it as blind belief. Here the Shraddha is towards to the Shastra based knowledge which is coming through the tradition of Purvacharya, Nigamacharya Vakyeshu. So why it is important? Because one of the pramana which we have seen in the previous class is about Shabda. Shabda is Aptavakya or Shruti Vakya is a Pramana. Pramakaranam Pramanam. Pramana Janyam Jnanam is unchallenged. Whatever is born out of Pramana is not challenged, and then it becomes a Prama or a permanent knowledge. So Shastra Vakyeshu Shraddha, or which is coming down through and the Guru, when it is being taught, it is the same with for any science or any subject when we study in our day-to-day life. If only we have a faith or the attention, that is a better word, attention towards what is being taught, we accept that knowledge and evaluate with our own personal experience. And when our personal experience is not contradicting what is being told to us through the Shastras, then we accept it as a permanent knowledge. So that is why it becomes a Pramakaranam, or what creates a knowledge in us. Just because it is there in a book or told by somebody, it cannot become a Prama, because from our individual perspective, each one of us should verify the authenticity of those words which is coming through the Shastras to the teachers. And when that happens with us, yes, it is a possibility, or it is a thing which is right. And until that is not challenged, I can believe in it. That is what is called unflinching faith. Whereas in a blind faith, what happens is that somebody told you to believe it, and you don't question that and blindly follow. Andhena niyamana yatha anta. So one blind leading the other blind, people follow that. That is what is not called the Shraddha. So we should make a difference between what is the Shastra Nirupya Shabda Janya Jnanam as faith. And when concentration on those words and what they indicate, the mind becomes quiet when the knowledge arises in us, because there is no more questioning or inquisitiveness or doubt which is creating the mind to disturb ourselves. The mind perturbance doesn't happen, because you are what we heard from the Shastras, we analyzed it, and we found that yes, there is a good amount of truth in it. So when you develop a faith in it, your mind becomes more quiet, and that quietness or that subsiding of the intellect from the doubt, the three dosha which I told you, Ajnana Samshaya Viparya, when that gets reduced, then the mind becomes in a state of Samadhanam or Samadhi. Samahadi, because it is a what you call equilibrium, an intellect at its equilibrium of having understood what the word is, what the words have been taught by the Guru. Now, apicha nigama iti nigamacharya vakyeshu Veda Guru Vachaneshu Yata Upanishad Vakyana Upadesheshu Bhaktihi Bhajanam Vishwasaha Ityartaha. So here what I told you is that from the Purvacharya Vakyeshu, which is coming through the Veda Guru Vachaneshu, Upanishad Veda Vakyana Upadesheshu, Bhaktihi and Bhajanam, the two words are used here. Here the bhakti is not the traditional bhakti, what we call it is in our bhakti tradition, or thing. Here bhakti, that is why the word bhajanam is bhaj sevayam is a dhatu from which the word lutantam, but you get bhajanam. Now what is a seva based bhakti? It is not haritoshanam or pujana or archana and all those things. Upadesheshu bhakti. Now Upadesheshu bhakti is not a bhakti which you show by actions like archana and ahuti or abhisheka and all those things. Those are all not the bhakti which here what this text calls for. Upadesheshu bhakti, upadesheshu seva, bhajanam. Bhakti means from the same word bhaja, bhaj dhatu. Upadesheshu seva, that means that upadesha, when you practice it, that is how you are doing the seva for the Upanishad Vakyanas. It is not that chanting Upanishad you become the seva for the Upanishad. Upanishad Vakyeshu, Upatesheshu, seva, when you practice that is what the seva is called. That Vishwasa, and you develop a faith after that, because when you practice it, you have an experience when you practicing it. That affirms your Vishwasam again on the Upadesheshu, Acharya, Nigamacharya Vakyeshu and Upadesheshu. That Vishwasa ityartaha, that is called Sraddha iti Vishruta. Vedanta Prasiddha tu puna sad lishyate sadeva soumya idam agravasit ityadi shruti lakshye pratyeka bhinna brahmani chittaidagrem tad eka jitnyasa ityartaha tat samadhanam iti smritam. Now, what are the type of Vedanta Prasiddha Vakya? Sadeva Saumya idagagra asit. O Saumya, O my dear son, Sat eva, the truth alone. Idam agre asit. Agra asit. Okay? So, that in the beginning, that alone was there. Asit. Tad eva agra asit. What? Sat eva. Sat means existence alone existed in the beginning. That is the Chandogya Upanishad Vakyam. Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asit. In the Chandogya, Uddalaka and Swetaketu, his son is Swetaketu, tells 9 times Tattvamasi. Before starting the Tattvamasi Upadesha, the first word what the Acharya or the father says to the son is that, O Saumya, Sadeva idam agra asit. That Sat alone was there in the beginning. And from there, how did all this world come into existence? He is explaining. And in that process, he says that Sat, when it becomes this, it cannot be different from Karya Karana Abhinnatvat. Karyam is Abhinnam from the Karanam. So Karya Karana Abhinnatvat Tadeva Saumya Idamagrahasit Tad Tvamasi. That Sat is Tvamasi. This is what is Vedanta Prasiddha Vishruta Vakya. Iti Shruti Lakshye Pratyaka Atma Bhinna Brahmani. So Atma and Brahma is the same, is what that word says, that Tattvamasi. In that, when you have Chitta Ekagram Bhavati, because Eka Jitnyasa, so single pointed in Jnana Ichcha, to know that, because that has to happen within the intellect. So when you are Chitta Ekagram, when the single pointed intellect, when you follow that Shruti Vakya, when the mind totally becomes silent, from which that is called Bada Avati in the process. Bada Avati means there is nothing more to do the Bada, to remove from that. There you are alone, facing yourself. Tadattvamasi, when it says you are facing your own true nature in that process of Chinta or Chitta, when you are doing that Mananam. That brings the Samadhanam, that there is Ajnana, Viparyaya, Samshayadi, Duri Kritva, Yatra Chitta Ekagram Bhavati, that Pratyekatma and Brahma are not different. That is called Samadhana. So faith and adherence in the Shastras passed down through the words of teachers by way of explanation of Upanishads, etc., is well known as Sraddha. That again leads to the concentration of the intellectual level toward the Upanishad sentences like, "Oh dear son," that alone was there in the beginning. By directing the concentration towards that non-differentiation between Atma and Brahman, that single pointed eagerness leads to the peace at the intellectual level and is known as Samadhanam. So this is what is Samadhanam. With that, the Shat Sambhati has been explained in these slokas. We are not going to the next sloka, which is Mumukshutva, which we will take it in the next class. But here, with 6 Shat Sambhati has been completed. Any questions, or we'll have the questions in the next class? I think we'll keep it for the next class, I think.
Yes, Mahodaya, I need to leave. It's
right,
got a bit late.
Okay.
Because we need to re-listen it once again to get back to understand the real meaning. So, in fact, I'm still not clear on Uparati and Dhamma. There's a bit of confusion. Probably if you can share it in the group, give your explanation. It can be written explanation. It would be nice. Uparati and Dhamma.
Okay, Uparati and Dhamma.
Yeah, I'm not really clear on those two terms because Dhamma I understood, but once Uparati comes, what is the basic difference between both of them? If you can send it in the WhatsApp group,
right.
That will really help us, Mahodaya.
Sure, I'll do that. Okay, we'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo
unmute பண்ண
Hari
போறீங்க.
Om.
धन्यवादः.
धन्यवादः. नमस्कारः.